Hello, and welcome to the Pearl Harbor Museum. Here's a map that will help guide you through the Museum of Pearl Harbor. Before the attack on Pearl Harbor, Japan and the US were allies in World War I. During the war, Japan was interested in conquering more territory, while the US wanted to stay out of the war as much as possible. The Great Depression then arose, making things economically bad for Japan. Then when the US stopped trading Japan goods, Japan got furious. Japan was always a successful country with industrialization and its ability to conquer neighboring nations. Although Japan is powerful, it is an island, so it lacks natural resources, causing Japan to depend on trade with foreign nations to keep its economy stable. After World War I, the Great Depression followed behind, making it hard for Japan to trade for resources. Japan's fascist leaders then acted upon this by invading and conquering more nations such as Manchuria to accumulate resources. During the Sino-Japanese War, the Japanese attacked an American gunboat, killing 3 and injuring dozens of Americans. This led to the US establishing economic sanctions on the items that Japan depended on for their military. The US did this to prevent Japan from invading more countries. After the US found out that Japan was still conquering more nations, even after they imposed sanctions on resources with Japan, the US started taking larger measures, such as setting an embargo on oil with Japan. This made Japan really mad because they depended on the US for 90% of their oil, so instead of slowing down their conquest, they went to show their anger by bombing Pearl Harbor and at the same time slowing down the US from interfering with their conquest of conquering the entire Pacific theater. The main weapons and machines used by the Japanese were bomber planes, which dropped torpedoes and were either equipped with a machine gun or a 20mm cannon. The Model 2 torpedo did the most damage to ships because it could destroy several decks in a ship and cause it to sink in a short matter of time. The Type 98 land bomb was mainly used to destroy buildings, aircraft, houses, or anything else on land. The Type 99 anti-ship bomb was also used to sink ships. The US, on the other hand, did not use any aircraft or ships to defend the attack on Pearl Harbor. They mostly used rifles, machine guns, and artillery. The M1 rifle was used to fire a shower of bullets with its 15-30 magazines of ammo. Machine guns, such as the Thompson submachine gun, were heavily relied on by soldiers due to its ability to shoot 500 rounds of ammo per minute. Artillery, such as bazookas, were also very useful in destroying Japanese aircraft in one shot. 120mm cannons were also used to shoot and destroy Japanese planes from 60,000 feet away. The attack on Pearl Harbor was very devastating for the US, since the Japanese were able to damage or destroy 20 US ships, destroy more than 300 US planes, kill 2,403 Americans, and injure 1,000 others. During the day, the sky was filled with smoke from plane explosions, planes on fire soaring into the ocean, and ships slowly submerging. The aggressive strike made the US furious at Japan, so Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was the current president at the time, declared war on Japan a day later. Then the US entered World War II and joined the Allied powers because they now despised Japan and they did not have a fascist government. This is terrible for Japan and the Axis powers because they just made an enemy of a strong nation. Bombing of Pearl Harbor was not the end of American-Japanese tensions, but the beginning. From December 8, 1941 to August 15, 1945, the US and Japan would fight 18 battles against each other until VJ Day, or Victory over Japan Day. The two major battles, the Battle of Midway and the Battle of Guadalcanal, would be fought, creating mass destruction over ocean and on land. The Battle of Midway was fought near and over the island of Midway, a US air base, using mainly ships and planes, resulting in 300 mass casualties. The Battle of Guadalcanal, on the other hand, used a lot of ground force firing at Japanese planes, causing around 6,000 casualties. In common, both of these battles resulted in American victory and the use of new technology. Over the years of World War II, the US developed the first ever nuclear weapon. Finally, on August 6th and 9th, 1945, US planes nuked Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, causing death to 90% of the civilians living there. If the civilians did not die right after the bombing, they would die over a 2 to 4 month period from the exposure to nuclear radiation. This event marked the end of World War II, since Japan surrendered to the US after this event. According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, for World War II to have been a good war, it must have met 6 requirements: just cause, right intentions, proper authority, and public declaration, last resort, probability of success, and proportionality. Number 1. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor because they did not like that the US had an embargo on oil. This is not because the US was aggressive and attacked first, so the Japanese did not meet the first requirement, just cause. Number 2. The goal of the Japanese is they wanted to imperialize the entire Pacific theater. The problem was the Philippines was US territory at the time, so they had to attack Pearl Harbor to slow down the US from preventing their conquest. This meant the Japanese also did not meet the second requirement, right intention, because they just wanted to capture US colonies. Number 3. Japan bombed Pearl Harbor on the morning of December 7, 1941, without giving the US or the American people in Pearl Harbor a heads up that they would be attacking. This caused the Japanese to not meet third requirement as well. Number 4. Japan did not even try to solve the conflict peacefully. Instead, they just aggressively attacked, making them fail the fourth requirement of only resorting to war when there is no way to solve the conflict peacefully. Number 5. Japanese bombing planes were likely to succeed their mission of bombing American ships, planes, and ammunition storages, so the Japanese met the fifth requirement. Number 6. The Japanese planes missed American ammunition storages and health centers, and they caused 2,403 American casualties, which were unnecessary. This caused the Japanese to not meet the sixth requirement of having more benefits from the attack than the cost of human life. Thank you for visiting the Museum of Pearl Harbor, and we hope you have a good day.